Construction on Thunder Bay's indoor turf facility is officially underway. Good evening, I'm Haley Perot. Thank you for joining us. The heated years-long debate is over. The city marked the start of construction on the new multi-purpose facility with a groundbreaking ceremony this morning. City officials, community groups, and politicians were all there to mark the occasion. So was Ryan Graham, who joins us now in studio. Ryan, how did today's event go?
Well, the project may be a controversial one, but those in attendance today were all smiles, calling the development an exciting milestone that will enhance community health, growth, and inclusivity.
Pleased to host today as we mark this exciting milestone for our city.
Work is officially underway on Thunder Bay's long-awaited and long-debated indoor turf facility. The city hosted a groundbreaking event on Thursday on the site next to the community auditorium.
Today is about not only the celebration, but a day of gratitude for all those people who had the foresight, the belief, and the tenacity to see this project through. This will be a flagship centerpiece of our community, not only for health, but for well-being in general.
For community groups like Soccer Northwest that have been pushing for the facility for years, they're thrilled that their athletes will finally be able to hone their skills year-round.
Our youth have never had the opportunity to play in any type of environment that is similar to what they go away and play on. So when you were speaking in Minneapolis, when we play in Thunder Bay, we have such a small field, so we have to use less players, and we have boards. When we go out of town, there's more players on the field, and there are no boards. Our players are going to actually be able to train the way they play. And it's not even just the players. I think one thing we're missing here is the families are now going to get to see their kids play in our city.
We are building a full field facility that is can be converted into 2 half fields or 4 quarter fields. It's multi-purpose, can be used for any number of turf sports. This submittal was both the lowest price and the highest quality overall. It came in just over $32 million. So it was well under the budget cap the council established.
The mayor acknowledges that not everyone is happy that the $32 million project is moving ahead, but he insists it will help the city's growth and overall well-being.
Believing and seeing faith restored and the optimism of what the potential is here is just another component of the community spirit. So this is a very significant day.
The facility is expected to be finished in October of 2026. Ryan Graham, TBT News.
City officials are laying out a blueprint for the future, and it's all about growth. They're now looking for feedback on Thunder Bay's Smart Growth Action Plan, meant to grow the tax base, strengthen the local workforce, and attract new residents. The plan is still in development, but will be presented to council in the fall. Jessica Clement has the details.
In an address to local business leaders, City Manager John Collins said it's critical that the city of Thunder Bay grows.
Why do we need to grow? The statistics are very telling. If you take a look at the last 2 census, a 5-year period, in that 5 years, the city of Thunder Bay grew by 1.3% population. And that's city and surrounding area. Doesn't sound half bad until you take a look at the national average, which was 5.2%.
The city's 10-year Smart Growth Action Plan has 3 core goals: expanding the city's tax base, strengthening its workforce, and attracting new people and businesses. Collins says their target for property tax growth is 3% annually.
We got to get from 0.75 to 3% annually. That does not happen overnight. It won't happen in 2 years. Probably won't happen in 5 years. We need to get there before the end of the 10-year plan.
There are currently 86 actions outlined in the plan, all grouped within 3 strategic pillars: readiness, attraction, and talent. Collin emphasizes the plan's still in development, with the city looking for input from residents through its Get Involved website and town halls. The first town hall was hosted on Wednesday and saw over a dozen residents come out to voice their concerns. The discussion touched on a variety of topics, including improving transit, keeping international students in the city, and improving the job market. Concerned resident Robin Rickards also brought up that the city needs to enforce its bylaws and derelict private properties.
We really need to change the story here in Thunder Bay. We need to find ways to make the city function more efficiently so that we can direct those resources to resolving those lingering problems that really require hard effort.
Everyone wants the city to grow, and it's just a matter of how and where, and that fills me with a lot of optimism that it feels like this city is on the same page. We're all looking at growth, and we're all really behind what the city is wanting to do.
All the feedback will be taken back to the city's growth task force. A final version of the plan will be brought to council in October. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
One person is in hospital after an incident on the city's north side that prompted a heavy police presence this afternoon. Police were called to the 300 block of High Street around noon and blocked off a portion of the road shortly after. The extent of the victim's injuries is unknown. The Major Crimes Unit is now involved in the ongoing investigation. A police presence is still in the area, but officials say there's no current threat to public safety. A man who shot Adrian Richardson at a Hodder Avenue apartment in 2022 will spend another 6+ years in prison, a judge has ruled. The sentence was handed down earlier this afternoon in a virtual courtroom over Zoom. The judge sentenced Talik Ricketts to 11 years for manslaughter in Richardson's death after Ricketts pleaded guilty to the lesser charge several days into a second-degree murder trial that was scheduled to last 3 weeks. Ricketts is one of 4 people accused in the case and the second person to be sentenced. After striking for weeks, WSIB workers across the province are seemingly no closer to a deal to bring them back to work. A CUPE union leader joined striking Thunder Bay workers today. Jaden Billick brings us this update.
WSIB workers are into their second month on the picket line, waiting for what they deem to be a fair deal from their employer that prioritizes a more manageable workload and higher wages. But OCEU Vice President April LeBlanc, who joined Thunder Bay workers on the picket line on Thursday, says the talks have largely gone quiet.
The union has been ready 24/7 to be at the bargaining table with this employer. It's the employer that has not been at the table with us, and they seem to lack the ability to send decision makers to the table. We have provided, and even more recently this week provided more examples of what could be useful to help in workload. So we are now awaiting that response from them to see what kind of offer they can bring.
The employees say they're under-resourced and understaffed, negatively impacting the mental health of frontline workers. But WSIB spokesperson Aaron Lazarus believes the employer has already made appropriate concessions.
We are offering above inflation wage increases that would see us go from 60% of unionized employees right now who make $100,000 a year or more, all the way up to 75% of our unionized members would be earning $100,000 or more, plus benefits, plus their pension. And on workload, we've been able to bring that down by 60% since 2021. We've hired more than 100 net new, so on top of everybody else, 100 more people who are working on claims. And we've made a commitment as part of this round of bargaining that we're going to work with our joint committee between the union and us to add more resources.
But with each side dug in, saying the ball is in the other's court, it's unclear just how long the stoppage will last. Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Confederation College has launched a new Indigenous Reconciliation Action Plan to reinforce its commitment to reconciliation and Indigenous education. It's a multi-year roadmap meant to embed Indigenous knowledge, leadership, and cultural practices and improve Indigenous representation throughout the institution. That process includes a new virtual reality course called Immersive Link 7, which brings the 7 grandfather teachings to life. College officials say in a region like Northwestern Ontario, initiatives like this are essential.
It is the fact that we are in Indigenous communities surrounded all of our Northwestern Ontario campuses. So it's very important that the culture is embedded within the college system, and it's important that as a college that we follow the truth and reconciliation that's required specifically of educational facilities, but more importantly that we're making an open, caring environment for our students and our staff.
We really want to make sure that any of our Indigenous students that are coming to the college feel the culture, feel safe, feel the environment, feel that they can be their best person, that they can, be successful at their studies and in life, and really create an environment that is supportive and that meets the needs of our Indigenous students coming to the college.
Confederation College serves 80 of 135 First Nation communities within its catchment area and hopes to expand its reach even further. For the second time this week, there's report of plants being taken from a north side garden. First, it was a resident in the Bay Algoma area. Now officials with Nokiwin Tribal Council say their office garden was destroyed and other items stolen. Jacob Hamilton reports.
Employees at Nokiwin Tribal Council were shocked this week to find that flower beds on their property had been ransacked overnight and a number of plants taken. A fire pit used for ceremonies and other items like hoses and buckets were also stolen.
We were all just kind of shocked and appalled, and really pretty much all became pretty saddened at what had happened. So yeah, we had checked the cameras shortly after and noticed that 3 individuals were involved. They came in the middle of the night, roughly around midnight to 1 a.m. and then they were there for quite a long time, and they had just started digging up like all these flowers we had here. They just schlepped them in a 5-gallon pail. Some of them were just tossed into a baby stroller, and then the rest of our perennials were just piled up into a shopping cart.
It comes just days after a Mocker Street resident also reported that her garden had been raided of plants earlier this month.
You kind of expect that people are in hard times, but you never expect somebody to go for something that's obviously so loved and appreciated, which is why it hurts so much.
That story is what caused Nokiwin staff to speak out publicly about the incident.
We estimated around $500. It may not seem like a lot to people, but to us, the value doesn't really matter. But I think the time, the appreciation, the thought of it kind of outweighs the monetary value.
We reached out to Thunder Bay Police, who confirmed the incident at Nokiwin was reported to them, but they don't believe it's connected to the Macker Avenue case. And there's nothing to suggest that this is a widespread issue in the city. Jacob Hamilton, TBT News.
We'll turn now to weather news, and Fiona, it was quite a comfortable and lovely day outside today.
Yeah, it actually really was. We had a very sunny start to the day. I took my dogs out for a walk. It was beautiful and sunny, and then once again in the afternoon, the clouds started coming in, but it started very slowly, and it was very kind of hazy cloud moving in. So all in all, it was a beautiful day because no humidex to speak of, but we had the sunshine. We also had a system, another round of showers pushing in from the south, and at this time, we're just on the cusp of it. Across the region, we're still looking at some sunny areas, but in Thunder Bay, after a low of 8 and a high of 22 compared to other locations, lots of sunshine in Fort Francis, up through Dryden, Upsala, Armstrong, and even into Greenstone. They had mostly sunny skies for most of the day. It's just been in the last couple of hours, they're starting to see a little bit more cloud creep in as that system moves up from the south. Now, temperature-wise, very consistent, 22, 23, 24, 25, all in that mid-range. And that just makes for a gorgeous day. A little cooler on the eastern shores, Wawa and Sault Ste. Marie, currently at their high of 20. They've had mostly cloudy skies. That was after starting the day with a bit of rain. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to stick with the double digits overnight. A low of 11 is expected. There is about a 40% chance of showers this evening. As I said, that system coming up, we're just on the cusp of it. So it starts out with a slight risk, but the size of the system, it's pretty much impossible to avoid it altogether, and it could come with about 5 to 10 millimeters beginning sometime after midnight. There's also some gusty winds associated with it, so overnight we could see winds up to 50 kilometers per hour from the east. Now, that's not necessarily the most auspicious start to a weekend that for some is turning into a long weekend, but we are getting some much needed rain, and the majority of it is happening at night, so I'm going to be optimistic. But this is going to be another weekend where things are a little bit iffy, and with the systems coming through, they could change throughout the day. And I'll have more on that later on in the news hour.
All right, thanks, Fiona. Hope